Good morning, and thank you for attending today's candidate forum. My name is Connie Weissman, and I'm currently serving as a co-chair for this year's candidate forums. The League of Women Voters of Arlington Heights, Buffalo Grove, Mount Prospect, Prospect Heights, Elk Grove Village, and Wheeling would like to thank the Mount Prospect Village for allowing us space to host this free candidates forum for the community. Founded in 1920 out of the suffrage movement giving women the right to vote, the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that neither supports, opposes, or recommends candidates for office. The League's purpose is to promote responsibility through the informed and active participation of all citizens. Providing this forum allows citizens to become better informed about the issues facing the community and candidates running for office. We are pleased to offer this service to you. As you can see from your program, we will be holding 3 forums this morning. The first forum will be candidates running for the Mount Prospect Park District Board. The second forum are candidates running for the Mount Prospect School District 57 Board. And our third forum will be candidates running for Mount Prospect Board Trustee. All the candidates were contacted by mail, email, and phone prior to today. The candidates have agreed to abide by the ground rules provided by the League of Women Voters. They are as follows. Candidates have drawn numbers to determine speaking order. The moderator will rotate this order during the forum for questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for their introductions. Then each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer questions. At the end, each candidate will have a 1-minute closing. League members are acting as timers, and they are located here at the front of the room where they are visible to our candidates and our moderator. Candidates will be given a 30-second warning, so please quickly conclude your thoughts when you see that card. Time limits will be enforced out of respect for all candidates. Questions will be provided by the audience. Each question will be answered by all candidates, so please, audience, ask questions that pertain to all candidates. League members have index cards available for you to write your questions on, which will be picked up by the volunteers. Questions will be reviewed for clarity, appropriateness, and to avoid duplication. Candidates have been asked not to interrupt one another. The moderator will repeat a question if asked. The candidates are to speak to the audience. Audience members, please turn off all of your electronic devices. This forum is being taped for the League to use in education for the public. The candidates have agreed to this, and we thank the Village of Mount Prospect for providing this service. Please hold all applause until the end, and please do not demonstrate any way to show support or non-support of a candidate. There is space outside the room for candidates to speak to supporters after the forum, and campaign literature is available on the table in the lobby. No campaign signs may be posted within the room where the candidate forum is being held. Please be respectful of all the candidates and attendees. At this time, I am pleased to introduce our moderator for today's forums, Gilda Carew. Gilda?
Thank you, Connie, and welcome to everybody who is here live watching this forum, and also to everyone who will be watching this later on as it's televised. As Connie stated, the The candidates were apprised of and agreed to the rules. Our first forum today is the Mount Prospect Park District. And the Mount Prospect Park District was incorporated in June 1955 and is located approximately 35 miles northwest of Chicago. It encompasses more than 454 acres. The Park District provides recreation programs, facilities, services to portions of Mount Prospect, Arlington Heights, Des Plaines, and Elk Grove Village, with a total population of 215,000. The Mount Prospect Park District offers its residents a total of 32 parks and recreational facilities, including a 3.5-star golf course, neighborhood playgrounds, pools, fitness centers, ball diamonds, biking and walking paths. And the mission statement of the Park District is to provide exceptional parks and recreational experiences that enrich the quality of life for present and future generations. The Mount Prospect Park District is headed by an executive director who oversees 5 divisions. These include business services and human resources, community relations and marketing, golf operations, parks and planning and recreation, and the executive director in turn reports to a 7-member board of commissioners who are elected officials serving staggered 4-year terms. So this year in April, we will be electing 4 commissioners. There are 5 candidates. There are 4 commissioners running. There are 5 candidates running for the 4 terms on the board, and these are 4-year terms. So today we have 3 of the candidates with us. We have Timothy J. Doherty, David B. Perns, and Lisa Tenuta. William Klicka called this morning. Unfortunately, he's taken ill and was unable to send a statement. And Michael Murphy, the other candidate, also was unable to attend and did not send a statement. So with that, as Connie stated, each candidate will have a up to 2 minutes for an opening statement. And according to the way the lots were drawn, Timothy Doherty, you have 2 minutes for an opening statement.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name's Tim Doherty. I'm a current member of the Mount Prospect Park District Board. I've been on the board for 18 years. I first ran in 2001. A little history about my relationship with the Park District is at 15 years old, I got employed by the Park District and an organization called Northwest Special Recreation Association, and I was a part-time one-on-one counselor with children with Down syndrome. So from 15 till 21, I worked part-time for the Park District in a couple different capacities, summer camp counselor with these children. I also did front desk duties and a couple other activities there. When I got hired full-time in 2000 by the city of Des Plaines, I wanted to find a way to stay involved in the Park District. It really became a home for me. It was somewhere where I, really grew up. So the best way for me, that I found for me to be involved, was to run for the board. I ran in 2001. I was single, living at home, and a lot has changed over the last 18 years. I'm currently married. My wife and I made sure we actually bought a house in the Park District boundaries. Still living on the west side of Des Plaines. We have 2 children, 8 and 5. We're constantly using programs and facilities. I'm running again for the board because I think it's really a great board. It's a great park district, and I just want to continue to see it improve and get better for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next opening statement is from David Perns.
Hello, thanks again for coming. I'm a 50-year-old practicing chiropractic physician, married to Robin, and have 2 beautiful daughters. I'm uniquely qualified because of the leadership positions I've held with our Illinois Chiropractic Society State Board as a director at large. I'm looking forward to giving back to our community that's given me so many memories participating in Park District sports as well as other activities. I'm proud to live in Mount Prospect knowing that our homeowner values increase because of our successful Park District programs. I've always had an interest in recreation as well as physical activity because knowing how that improves our health and well-being is extremely important to the community. Improving our fee-based programs is something I will look at because that helps decrease the burden on our tax levy. I'll look closely at the budget line by line to identify cost-saving opportunities that can improve our park district. I'm going to look at exploring available unused space that our park district might have to, again, increase new programs and/or activities such as paddleball, keeping our seniors in mind with possibly bocce ball and getting them engaged. I'd like to build upon the reciprocation with other park districts that neighbor us, that they've done such a good job with the dog park. I think there might be other opportunities for that. As far as the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, finding ways to have them relax the restrictions that I've found out that are on our leases could help the park district. I have some other ideas, such as looking at ways to continue to increase our youth sports participation and engaging seniors, like I mentioned earlier.
Thank you. And our final opening statement is from Lisa Tenuta. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Tenuta. I'm a 25-year resident of Mount Prospect, and the Tenuta family has been part of this community for 49 years. I raised my children in the Park District. I was raised in a active Park District in the community I grew up in, so I always thought it was important to be involved in the Park District. I'm running for my 3rd term, and I originally decided to run for the Park District Board actually well before the first time I did, but I had a husband that traveled and small children, and I just didn't see that it was possible. But as my kids got older, I have 2 sons, 23 and 20. I found a way to do it and work that time in. I'm very passionate about the Park District. I think we've done a lot of good work in the last 8 years that I've been on the board, and I'm really proud of that. Recently, we did a new strategic planning called Mapping the Future, and the goal was to provide the district with a clearly defined purpose and improve on our customer service and hit some other bullet points of improvement that are needed in our park district. I hope to be back on the board, and I'm looking forward to see what direction improvement over the next 3 and 5 years we can bring to Mount Prospect Park District. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting the candidates today, and thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. We'll now start with the questions. We've received some questions from the audience and some that the League has prepared. And each candidate, as Connie stated, will have up to 2 minutes to answer each question. You don't have to take the full time, but if you want 2 minutes, you'll have 2 minutes. Again, the timekeepers will be indicating when you've got 30 seconds left. And since we're rotating, our first question will be answered first by David Perns, and then all of the candidates will answer the same question. And the first question is, as a member of a tax levying body, how do you expand services if needed without raising taxes?
As I had talked about on one of my opening comments, is if we can increase the fee-based programs, that will help take away some of that taxes that will be assessed.
Thank you. Lisa Tenuta?
So the Park District overall is about 6% of our tax bill on average. And I think that what's different about the Park District compared to other tax levying bodies is that we do have revenue that comes in along with the property taxes. That revenue is very important to us. And so with this new strategic plan that we've been working on, we're really taking a look at the programs and making sure we're offering the right programs. We're really interested in hearing more from residents on what's wanted and how we can expand those programs, because you don't want to create something someone's not going to come to. So you really want to make sure that you are creating good programs for people to come to. We have to expand our programming because that's where we draw money into. We have to the revenue, that we generate from program fees, rental income, fitness passes, memberships. Those are all, what makes this park district run, along with the taxes that we bring in. All this all of that together promotes a good balance between district's tax revenues and our non-tax revenues. We also have potential sources of community partnerships, grants, and sponsorships that I think we need to continue to strive for and look for and make this park district grow. Thank you.
Thank you. And the final response is from Tim Doherty.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, the Park District, the way we operate is different than a government body like the village. We're a tax cap agency, just like the school districts. So really, to raise the levy significantly, like District 57 just did, you would have to go to referendum and get the approval from the public to raise their taxes. Park District has tried that twice in the 18 years I've been on the board. Neither one passed. I wouldn't recommend going back to that and going for referendum. I think times have changed and everything has changed. And to Lisa's point, 40 to 50% of our operating budget comes from programs and facility rentals and those types of revenues. So I think we do a nice job of trying to look at our programming. Our staff is constantly evaluating if a program, where it is in its life cycle, if it's growing, if it's at its peak, or if it's going downward and we need to eliminate it or change it or do something to increase revenue in that program. So I think that's really the key. We've had a lot of success. Einstein Park is one of them on the west side of Des Plaines, where we received a grant from the Illinois government where we were able to redo that whole park, and they paid for half of that. So looking for opportunities like that, and then sponsorships and our community partners. One of the things we're currently working on with the Mount Prospect Parks Foundation is redoing the kitchen and some of the things at our Friendship Park Conservatory. And the hope there is that with their sponsorship and their help, that we'll be able to bring that facility, increase the look of that facility and get more rentals and bring in more revenue and do things that'll help us offset our budget without raising taxes to the community.
Thank you. Our next question will be answered first by Lisa Tenuta. The question is, what are your priorities regarding capital improvements in our parks?
We have the Park District does a 5-year plan in capital improvements. And right now, we have to concentrate on infrastructure. We just recently had some HVAC units suddenly go out at the CCC, and that was we had to make an immediate vote to make those changes in it. Our buildings are getting older, and we do have to concentrate on the infrastructure and those buildings throughout the Park District. I think it was 3 to 4 years ago, we had to redo roofing at Recplex because it's an older building. So we do have to concentrate on those buildings and make sure that they're the best for all residents. We have an aging wave pool, although I don't agree that we need to spend $7 million changing the wave pool. We've been talking about maybe adding a splash pad and things, just updating the facility. So right now, I think really our concentration needs to be in making sure that our infrastructure is strong, our buildings are safe for our residents, and I think that's really the most important point.
Thank you. Tim Doherty?
Sure. We're in a unique position because our park district boundaries are pretty landlocked. So our ability to come up with big facilities or big plots of land really aren't there anymore. So I agree with Lisa. Our focus really needs to be and has been on infrastructure and what we currently have. Our budget annually is about $700,000 to $1 million in capital, which sounds like a lot, but goes very quickly when you're talking about parking lots, roofs, vehicles, improving playgrounds or parks, local parks. And that's something we've done a pretty good job with our staff, I believe, of managing. We've made it a point on the board currently that every year at least one local park is replaced, and we've stuck to that. And really, that needs to be our focus. I don't believe we should be going out buying any new plots of land and building any new facilities when we don't have the money to take care of the facilities we have today. So our focus needs to stay on improving those facilities and improving the parks that we currently have.
Thank you. David Perns?
Safety is paramount. Going around, Mount Prospect has a lot of parks, and they are very friendly to our community, children being number one. The infrastructure. going into Lions Park, I believe that is probably the one facility that needs, from inside to outside, work on. Being able to possibly take away a little burden, the Maple Street lofts, I know, is something that might happen, but being able to tie in the Lincoln Park improvements with that could be a potential avenue for updating the infrastructure, locker rooms, and/or the actual pool itself. Also with the Lions Park pool, improving the area for special needs, I think that is another area that we can really increase the community's value with that property.
Thank you. Our next question will be answered first by Tim Doherty. The question is, what are your thoughts on allowing cross-country skiing at the Mount Prospect Golf Course?
Sure. I know years ago we had it at the golf course. This will be a quick answer. Personally, I don't know the reason behind. I'd have to find out why it's not allowed now, but with our continuous cart paths and things we have on the course, I'm not opposed to it.
Thank you. David Perns?
The golf course is beautiful, and to get non-golfers to utilize that in the winter months, I think is a huge benefit. You see nature, you get exercise, and you can rope off the greens and keep them unimpeded, which really is the only thing on the golf course that could be potentially damaged. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. And Lisa Tenuta?
I'm definitely in support of allowing cross-country skiing on the golf course. I think the issue is the greens and the fairways. The type of grass that they are need to be protected. So I think if you define the areas that someone could cross-country ski in, it's definitely a place that should be opened up in the winter for residents to use. I know when the golf course was under construction, they opened up the pathways for walking in early spring before the golf course was open, and I know that was extremely popular. And I think that, you know, if you don't golf, the golf course is really open to all, and allowing cross-country skiing would be a definite plus for the Park District.
Thank you. Our next question will be answered first by David Perns. The question is, what sort of programs or support would you recommend for the special needs population?
When you're looking at certain special needs and the autism spectrum has gone through the ceiling, you have to have environments that are conducive to their sensory component. So they would have to be a little bit more secluded. They'd have to be a little more quieter. The pool, I believe it's called a no-depth pool. This is something that they can enjoy in a safe environment. That would be my main focus.
Thank you. Lisa Tenuta?
The good news is the Park District has a partnership with the NWSRA, the Northwest Special Recreation District, and we actually just recently partnered with them, and they have opened up in the CCC in an area that we were using for birthday parties but didn't have a lot of use. And we have this brand new facility that they run within the Central Community Center for special needs. You have to sign up and be part of that program. But they do it in other park districts too. Wheeling is opening up a new facility. Rolling Meadows has one. We have one now. So we were really excited about that. I think that the good news is that we already have those partnerships in place with the NWSRA, and we really do look at some of the programming that we offer, and kids do have an opportunity. They'll bring in an aide if needed for extra help. The NWSRA supports that with the Park District. So that's a really exciting piece for us. You know, the Park District's for everyone. It's all inclusive. So we have to make sure that we're serving everyone's needs in the district. Thank you.
Thank you. And Tim Doherty?
Yeah, Lisa stole my thunder on the Pursuit program, but that agreement we have with Northwest Special Recreation Association is really quite unique and becoming a little more common as time goes on. But they lease part of our building at Central Community Center, pay us rent, and then they run this full-day program for people with disabilities. But like I said earlier, I started in the Park District because of inclusion, working one-on-one with children that were part of day camps. And that still continues today. If there's activities that people want to participate in and they're concerned about how that's going to work and inclusion, we offer that through NWSRA, that we'll have a one-on-one aid with the person to help them get through that program. Other than that, there's a number of things we've done. All of our parks that we've redone have swings for people who are in wheelchairs. We have ramps going into the parks. Everything we do is looking at ADA and making sure we're compliant. At the conservatory, we just put in new doors that are electric opening, so people in wheelchairs and with disabilities are able to get in there a little easier. So we're constantly looking at that and trying to improve our facilities to make sure we're able to accommodate anybody, like Lisa said, because we do welcome everyone into our programs and facilities.
Thank you. Our next question will be answered first by Lisa Tenuta. The question is, with the increase of the minimum wage to $15 an hour and the voters repeatedly voting against any increase in taxes, how does the Park District plan to absorb that increase?
That's a good question, because that is an issue for us. I mean, I think when you look at it, we have to be competitive in the marketplace. We hire a lot of teenage help over the summer. That's where we increase. We have the lifeguards at the pools. We run summer camp programs, and we have to remain competitive or we won't get those people coming to work at the Park District. So it's a concern of ours. I mean, we've talked a little bit about it because this has been something that's been going on we've been talking about this in the state for like the last couple of years. And we can't increase taxes. And so what takes the hit then? Something has to give. So you have to increase your revenue in the Park District so you don't have to raise those programming fees. That's the last thing we would want to do. But you do have to, you have to look at it as an overall big picture. The Park District, it's probably a $3 to $4 an hour difference to what we're paying in some cases. So we really do have to take a close look at that overall. I do think that program fees probably will have to be affected in the future. We don't have to meet that, I believe, until 2025. But it's definitely something that we have to look at very closely. And hopefully with all the plans that we have in place to increase revenue, program fees will not be the thing that takes the hit. But it's definitely a concern for us.
Thank you. Tim Doherty?
Sure. Yeah, I think every agency and business is going to have to look into how it's going to affect them. We recently found out from our staff that just in the increase in 2020, we're looking at probably $40,000 to $45,000 in additional expenses on salaries. So Lisa said programming and then the cost of those programmings might be affected. I also think we need to look at how we operate and look for more efficiencies in our operations. And some of those ideas is, if you have a concession stand that's not making much revenue at a facility, do you go to vending machines or do you do things to make up that difference? But unfortunately, because we are tax capped, it does have to come from somewhere. And if it can't come from efficiencies as time goes on and that increase continues, it will most likely end up coming from program fees.
Thank you. And David Perns?
When elected, I'll be able to look at the programs that are already out there and be able to elaborate on it a little bit more. Hopefully you don't have to increase the fees. Hopefully we can just increase programs, and what was brought up earlier about the cross-country skiing, the rentals of skis and things of that sort can generate revenue, which can hopefully offset having to raise the fees of the programs.
Thank you. The next question will be answered first by Tim Doherty. And the question is, childhood participation in sports is decreasing nationwide. How can the Park District help to promote health and well-being in the youth populations?
Sure. I mean, we've been lucky that the Cubs helped us a couple of years ago, but we've seen an increase over the last few years in some of our participation, which has been great. But I think as a park district, we need to get more involved with the school districts and maybe offer some activities and do some things that we don't offer currently. And it's a good way to help market our programs and get the word out there that we offer these. And also, it's a partnership that we could have with the school district. So one example would be our golf course staff, especially in the winter, maybe going into the schools and doing a little lesson with the gym on golf. And that allows us to show them that we offer these programs, see if we can get kids interested. I think that's part of it. You know, there's the screen time now and all that, and getting people out into the community. So that really would be my focus on trying to get ourselves out there more with these groups to let them know that we have these programs and we offer these activities for the youth.
Thank you. David Perns?
To add to Tim's positive comments with that is, yes, having a little more early exposure to the schools will help. Club sports have become extremely popular, and what happens is children usually start off in a Park District program, and as they improve, they move on to club because of the one-on-one training and the higher competition. I do believe that there are ways to keep the Park District programs strong and powerful. It takes the parents to be coaches. The one thing that we're set apart from club sports is they're paid professionals to teach. All of our Park District programs are parents who are doing the coaching as well as the teaching. If there are ways to possibly look at adding a professional like the golf course, we have a PGA professional that teaches the lessons. Is there ways that we might be able to bring in on a per diem fee, a professional soccer coach to help out with the programs, to add to the parents, potentially a Major League Baseball player, to give the fathers those are ways to help increase the Park District youth sports programs.
Thank you. And Lisa Tenuta?
Thank you. I think it's all about programming for me. I think if I take a look at, we have a lot of youth, even when they're younger, taking programs. I mean, my son started taking tennis lessons inside the gym at Lions Park, and then grew up throughout the Park District and became a pretty good tennis player, played in high school, had a great time. I have a golfer in my family, started at the Park District level, and is doing really well. And I think that our programs have to speak for themselves. We have to make sure that we're marketing to parents. We have to make sure that we're expanding our programs and looking at the types of programs so we keep parents and our youth engaged in the Park District. I think fitness is a place that we really need to look at very closely because of the fact that kids are going to these travel teams and things like that. We can get them back with fitness. And I think offering some good new programs to help with agility or help with anything that is going to improve whatever sport they're taking is going to be a good and positive thing. So I do think that we have to look closely at programming. We need to keep our eyes and ears open and see what our competitors are doing out in the marketplace, and make sure that we're keeping our programming fresh for all.
Thank you. The next question will be answered first by David Perns. The question is, what ways can the Park District help educate and engage residents on more earth-sustainable practices?
When you look at parks, the surfaces that we participate on, you can look at those the wood chips, things that are safe as well as reusable. Can you restate that?
Okay, the question was, in what ways can the Park District help educate and engage residents on more earth-sustainable practices?
In all of the facilities as well, the pools, putting up some posters which encourage reusable resources. Do it in a kind of a subliminal way. You can put signs up, you can hold classes, the instructors can start off with a bullet point on how important it is about reusable energy sources. And those are the ways that I would like to see employed.
Thank you. Lisa Tenuta?
Well, I think the good news is if you haven't visited our conservatory, you should run there because it is a thing of beauty. We are very lucky in our park district to have a facility like the conservatory. And if you haven't been, we have our own greenhouse, a very large greenhouse in our park district that supplies all the flowers and plants that you see anywhere in our park district facility, and they do an amazing job. And so they have a community garden there. Just recently, we had to go to the city of Des Plaines to get beehives approved. And so we're going to have beehives, I think, this spring, if I remember correctly. But we do have environmental classes at the conservatory for youth. We have planting classes for adults. We have so many opportunities at that facility for environmental studies. And we were just recently at a board meeting having this discussion because there are grants for environmental studies, and we are looking into those at the conservatory. And I do think it's so important to, make sure that we're constantly up to date on our environment, and especially educating our children and continuing our education as adults.
Thank you. And Tim Doherty?
Lisa is tough to follow again. Yeah, she's right on. Our conservatory is fantastic. One of the activities we do there every year around Earth Day is a big Earth Day celebration, and that really is great because we have groups from all over the northwest suburbs that show up. NWSD, the Water Reclamation District, they come and they talk about reusing your rainwater and rain barrels, and we have our staff there talking about the facilities and what we offer at the Park District. But we could do a better job. I think we could use more recycled material on our benches and on our playgrounds and advertise, and probably more than anything, do a better job of advertising what we do that helps the environment, that is beneficial to the environment. I think there's a lot we do that we just don't publicize. And I think getting the word out there and offering those services, especially the services we offer at the conservatory, would be a benefit for us.
Thank you. The next question will be answered first by Lisa Tenuta. The question is, the senior population is growing. How is the Park District going to work to meet the increased demand of senior types of activities, including accessibility?
I think the good news about the accessibility end of it is that we are really moving to make all of our facilities ADA compliant. And you really can't do any new building or changes to a facility without making it ADA compliant now. You really do have to consider that first and foremost. And that's helpful for seniors to be able to push a button to open a door, and everything that goes along with that. We do have decent programming for seniors, but I think we can improve. I know that at the CCC, they open that up in the mornings because the inline hockey rink is unused, and so you can go and walk there in the winter, which I think is positive. We have wonderful walking paths throughout the village in many of our parks. But the key to this is good communication. We have to understand what is needed, what is wanted, and one of our goals with Mapping Our Future is improving our customer service. So we have to make sure that not only are we reaching out to the senior community, we're hearing them and making those changes and creating those programs. And I think that really could be, a positive thing. We really do have to listen at the Park District. And I think we do a decent job at it, but the strategic plan was made not only by the board of directors, it was made by our employees. It was made by, people coming in and talking to us, focus groups. And the bottom line is I think we could do better for all. And I hope that people feel that we're listening, and if we're not, come and tell us, because we do want to do better and we want to make sure it's good for all.
Thank you. Tim Doherty?
Sure. The beautiful thing about the strategic plan is one of the main things, like Lisa mentioned, is that we want to look at programs throughout the district for seniors, for youth, for middle age, for every age group, and really look and focus on if we're meeting their needs. And I think that's something that we have plans to do, we need to do. And really, that's going to be it. That do our facilities and our programs meet the needs of our community? And are we doing everything we can to meet those needs? And that's going to be our focus. One of the things that's been brought up recently at one of our meetings are day trips. And a gentleman came to our meeting and asked about more day trips. And we do offer some through our conservatory, but a lot of those are nature related to different facilities. So, I mean, I think that's one area in particular where it interests a lot of seniors, that we could do more day trips and do more activities with them besides the everyday programming of programs.
Thank you. And David Kearns.
As our as our population ages, you do have to stay on top of some programs as well as activities that the seniors can assess and participate. Things such as bocce ball, things such as a little bit lower impact, but improving that awareness of activities out there, I think, is the park board's opportunity to show the aging seniors. Other ways, possibly increasing the use of technology. I know the seniors might not be as engaged in technology, but having programs such as seated exercises, you can do a 15, 20-minute regimen in a chair that will help every muscle, it'll help the heart pump, and getting them that information can help our aging population.
Thank you. This will be the final question before we move to the closing statements, and the question will be answered first by Tim Doherty. The question is, part of Millis Park was fenced in for a dog park several years ago. How will you make sure the board decisions benefit all members of our community?
Well, I think in the Park District, it's difficult, honestly, to have every resident of the Park District agree with your decision. Because if you're doing something at the golf course, the golfers are going to want that. If you're doing something at a pool and you don't swim, you don't want your tax money going to that. If you're doing something at a playground, but you don't go to the playgrounds and you don't have kids or grandkids, you would rather see your money spent somewhere else. So I think our job is to listen to the residents and also look at our facility and our programs and see what is the best use for those dollars. The dog park is an agreement we have with Arlington Heights Park District. It's a great thing. We split maintenance, so we'll maintain it 1 year, and the next year Arlington Heights maintains it, so it cuts down on resources that the Park District pays. It also offers everybody with a dog an opportunity to socialize the dogs and have their dogs run in the community. So while it's a unique situation in a Park District, but I think we do our best, and the goal of the board is always, and my personal goal, is always to do what is best for the district and the residents in the district.
Thank you. David Kearns?
As far as the dog park and the collaboration between the adjoining park districts, that's one of the ways that we might be able to decrease our fees, is by working closer with our adjoining communities. Knowing that minimum wage, knowing the tax structure, the tax system, working closer, and that was one idea that I know of that they did work together. I think if we expand that to other programs and get the help of the communities surrounding us, I think that will greatly benefit our park district.
Thank you. And Lisa Tenuta.
Thank you. I think the dog park was a good collaborative effort between Arlington Heights Park District and Mount Prospect Park District. And there was a need, because we do have leash laws in Mount Prospect, and there was a need to have a dog run somewhere. If you look at other park districts in surrounding areas, surrounding from us, Arlington Heights and Mount Prospect was probably the two that really didn't have a dog park. So the collaborative effort, I feel, was a good thing. Tim did point on any decision you make, people do question it. I hope that, I think we split the amount of passes between Arlington Heights and Mount Prospect that you can get. I know the first year they sold out. And, and that was the problem, because people were excited about the park and they wanted to be there. Overall, I think the dog park is a good thing for the park district. The collaborative effort between Arlington Heights is always a positive. And, I know there's been talk from some residents that are interested in having another. It's all about space and where's the right place for that. That's something we can look at. I'm not sure if we're there, but I think the dog park is a positive facility for the Park District.
Thank you. And now we'll move to the closing statements. You will have 1 minute. And the first closing statement will be from David Perns.
In closing, I look forward to working with our existing Park District Board, as well as staff and all of the management of the Park District. The executive director has done a fantastic job. I know he's back on, which was a huge asset to the Park District Board. To succeed, everyone must connect and engage. Great teams hash things out. Conflict is a good thing when it's layered in trust, and that's how I'd like to close my forum. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Lisa Tenuta.
Thank you. Thanks again to the League of Women's Voters. We appreciate the invitation. I appreciate the invitation. You know, I love the Park District, and there's many reasons why. I raised my children in it. I've done activities in it. I love a neighborhood park. That's where I connected with other moms in my community. That's where I raised my children. I still love a neighborhood park. I'm really excited about the strategic plan that we have in place, mapping our future. And I really encourage residents, like, if we're not doing something you want, we are here to listen. And I truly hope that that you'll know that the Park District cares, the board cares. We want you to be heard, and I hope that we open this line of communication. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final closing statement is from Tim Doherty.
Thank you. I wanted to thank you for moderating today. You did a fantastic job, and the League of Women Voters for putting this together. It's always great for the Park District. We're kind of more of the hidden government body sometimes to get out and get our opinions out and talk to the public. I just want to reiterate what they both said. The residents of the Park District are in a lucky position. I think every person running for the board this year has honestly the best wants and really wants to see the Park District grow. So I don't think there is any way anybody can go wrong. I hope I'm a person that people will consider to continue to vote for and put back in the Park District. It's been a part of my life for 24 years. I've lived in this Park District my whole life, and I'm really dedicated and really believe in the mission and the goals of the district. So thank you all for being here, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. And let's give our candidates, Tim Doherty, David Perns, and Lisa Tenuta, a big hand for their thoughtful responses to the questions. And again, I thank everyone for coming today, and also I thank everyone who will be watching this on television later on. I encourage everyone to get out and vote. These are very important elections. These affect you very closely. This is your community. Get out and vote. Be part of it. Thank you again, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we will take about a 10-minute break before the next candidate forum. If you are staying, please move to the center to make room for additional audience members. The forum is scheduled to begin at 10 o'clock. All right.